Studio vlog number 4. Now, if you've looked at my channel, you notice that there is no Artist Alley Studio vlog number 1 or 2, and I'm getting ready to rename one of my videos vlog number 3. So before I make it too confusing here, I've been doing vlogs and posting them on YouTube. They were recorded vlogs. But what has happened is I realized that when I did my first live stream on Twitch, that it was actually a Artist Alley Studio vlog number 3. So now this is vlog number 4. Even though that was my first Twitch video, it was still one of my vlogs, so I have to classify it as that. If you haven't seen it right now, for the present, it's entitled Intro to the GYPSY, The Last Giant, and it was the first one that I did here on Twitch, and I'm going to retitle it here shortly, but that's neither here nor there. Welcome to the stream. I know Twitch says that you need to set up a schedule, but the way my schedule is right now, I can't set a regular schedule, so all I can do is jump on here whenever I can. Today, I would really like to talk about this painting here, Sea Lion Women and Mermaids Doing Autopsies on Things, Why the Badass in the Corner Looks On. Now, a lot of people have asked me, well, GYPSY, when are you going to start doing live painting? I got a lot of friends that want to see me do live painting here on Twitch. Truth of the matter is that I need to upgrade my equipment. I need to get the right cameras to do it so that you can see me do it properly. And I don't even want to attempt that until I have the right equipment so that you can thoroughly enjoy and watch what I'm actually doing. So for now, I'm just going to share some of my paintings with you and tell you the story behind those paintings, like Sea Lion Women and Mermaids Doing Autopsies on Things, Why the Badass in the Corner Looks On. Now, I have this friend named Jana. She goes by the name Baroness Ampersand. She is what's known as a decorative artist. Now, what she does is she goes into old buildings where there needs to be artwork updated, whether it's a mural that's painted on the wall or decorative trim. She goes in and she restores that. Well, years ago, before the advent of MySpace or Facebook, or before social media just boomed, Jana used to do these nice little email newsletters talking about her adventures as she went from place to place working on this decorative art. She had a pretty sizable email list. Well, Jana, the Baroness Ampersand, wrote this email about going on a trip with her brother down through Oklahoma, and she was going through his box of cassette tapes. Well, apparently her brother don't want to move into the 21st century, and he still records his own cassette tapes and labels them himself. He does not like CDs, he don't like MP3 players, he don't like Bluetooth, he don't like anything modern, he wants cassette tapes. He won't upgrade. So she's going through this box of cassette tapes that he personally labeled and recorded himself, and she's trying to find something to listen to, and she comes across this tape labeled Sea Lion Women, Lion. And I guess there's a song, I've never heard it. If you've heard it, great, because I've never heard it, called See the Line Women. Line as in you're a big fat liar, nanny nanny boo boo. Anyway, forgive me, I'm a little dry today. Anyway, she read the label, Sea Lion Women, and she said it got her to thinking about Sea Lion Women and Mermaids Doing Autopsies on Things. Well, I thought, I can do something with that. Well, as she goes on through this newsletter, pretty soon she's talking about her dad. Her dad, who was always the badass in the corner, waiting for her and her brother to mess up. And I thought, Sea Lion Women and Mermaids Doing Autopsies on Things, Why the Badass in the Corner Looks On. I can do something with that. So I started the painting. I started the painting that you see here. So what happened was I got the Sea Lion Woman, which is the one on the left-hand side there, and the mermaid, the one on the right-hand side, holding the narwhal tusk, done. I did the background first, which is that brown chocolate color that you see back there. Then I did the Sea Lion Woman, and then I did the mermaid. And then I did the badass in the corner looking on, and which is, of course, Poseidon. And then I got lost. I had an artist's block. I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't figure it out. And so I was stuck. I was just there. There was no place I was going with it. I was just trapped. So I took the canvas and I stuck it on easel over in the corner of my studio, and there it sat for a year. I kept trying to go back to it, but I just couldn't come up with anything. I couldn't figure out what I was going to do with this piece of art. I was actually, to be truthful with you, I was actually on the verge of just painting over it. Just painting over it and doing something different, because I was that stuck for an idea. Until I visited Branson with my ex-wife. Now, if you've ever been to Branson, there's a place there called the Titanic Museum, and I strongly recommend that you visit it. It's amazing. It's fantastic. The building itself looks like the bow of the Titanic, and it looks like it's striking an iceberg. Of course, what else would it be doing? But I guess there's other Titanic museums around the country. This is just one of many. Anyway, once I entered this museum and I started going through it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. See, when you enter, they give you a boarding pass. And the boarding pass is someone that was actually on the Titanic. And inside the museum, they have items that belongs to that person. Okay? My guy was a steward on the ship. And he was actually a hero. When the ship went down, he saved a lot of people. And he had items in the museum. My wife's boarding pass belonged to a little tiny girl. And we'll talk more about the steward and the little tiny girl later. Right now, I want to tell you about the museum. So we went through the museum, and it's pretty fantastic. They even have the grand ballroom and those staircases that you saw in the movie Titanic, and it's breathtaking, and it's moving, and it's touching, and it's very educational. The three things that caused me to lose my artist block and know exactly what I was going to do with my painting were towards the end of the tour of the museum. On the recreation of the bridge, they have a bowl of water up there. That is the exact temperature of the water that night that the ship went down, and they challenge you to put your hands in and see how long you can leave your hands in this bowl of water. I put my hands in, I lasted 20 seconds, that was it. I had to pull them out. They were hurting, they were tingling. It was horrible. It was horrible. It's understandable how these people that were in the water died so quickly, because it was that cold. They probably froze to death almost instantly, hypothermia. And down they went like Jack letting go of that headboard. By the way, Rose, move over. There's enough room on that headboard for Jack. What's wrong with you? Anyway, it was really cold. And it got me to thinking about all of those people that had died because of that cold water. Then you come upon a recreation of the wreck on the ocean floor, and it's huge. This recreation, I mean, it's not as big as the actual wreck itself, but it's big, and you can see detail. You can walk around it, and you get a better perspective of the Titanic on the ocean floor. And looking at how it had shattered and split in two, and how one section was here and another section was there, and it just basically just like somebody grabbed it and broke it in two. Then at the very end of the tour, you come to a memorial wall. This memorial wall is about 3/4 of it are the people that died on the Titanic, God rest their souls, and another quarter of it are survivors. My guy survived. The steward survived. He went on to be a technical advisor on the movie A Night to Remember, and he was recognized as the hero he was for helping get people off the ship. Unfortunately, the little girl that was my ex-wife's boarding pass, she did not survive. She perished. There were items by her in the museum, and there were items by my steward in the museum. It was very moving, it was touching, and yes, I'll admit, my eyes got very moist at the end of the tour. But going to the Titanic Museum inspired me to complete this painting, and I believe that you can see where this is going, okay? So let me explain it to you now. You see all the bubbles here and all the people in the bubbles. That is the faceless people that died, faceless and nameless people that died on the Titanic, unknown to anyone except God. Then you see, of course, the sea lion women and the mermaid, and they're doing the autopsy on the Titanic with a narwhal tusk. And you can see the Titanic split right in two and going to the ocean bottom. Then we come down here, and it's hard to see, but there's a calendar page right in between the trident. On Poseidon's trident there, it says April 14th on it, the day the Titanic sank. We come down a little bit further. I'm trying to do this without going over into the screen. Go down a little bit further, and you see the wheel from the captain's wheelhouse, from the bridge. That indicates that he could have turned in time if he hadn't been stupid, if he'd just listened, paid attention. You go down a little bit further, and you can see there's a watch there, right by Poseidon's arm, pocket watch. That has the time on it that the Titanic sunk. Then you notice the ship down in the corner, the mast from the sunken ship. That represents all the ships that have sunk before and after the Titanic. Now, you can see a Bible right there, right by the bubble that has the captain in it. We'll talk about the captain in a minute. But the bubble represents all those that prayed for their lives that night and all those that didn't survive, but hopefully were taken into heaven because basically they were innocent in what happened to them. You also see a top hat and a cane right there. That represents the rich that were on the ship. There's a life preserver that says SS Titanic on it. The anchor that you see down there sticking up, that represents that the Titanic will never anchor again. It's permanently anchored where it's at. Then, if you look down by the anchor, right by the anchor, you can just see the head of a rag doll right there. That had belonged to the little girl. They actually had the rag doll in the museum. Then you can see a straight razor and a pair of eyeglasses right next to the rag doll. That is my guy. That's the Stewart. Those actually belong to him. They had those in the museum. Then there's a violin right there by the tail of the mermaid. Okay, that violin represents the musicians that played when the Titanic's going down. My finger's getting tired here. And then up here by the tail of the mermaid, you can see a cradle right there. And right next to the cradle, there's a pipe, like an Irish pipe. That represents the people that were trapped below, and the cradle also belonged to the little girl. But the Irish pipe represents the people that were trapped below that they didn't let out to escape. Last but certainly not least, see the captain? He's the only one with a face because he can't hide from what he did. He can't hide from the tragedy he caused. And the badass in the corner is getting ready to make him pay the price for what he did. Now, I know that's a bit of a long explanation about the painting. I understand that. But the museum was full of symbolism, a lot of symbolism in that museum. And the painting deserved the same amount of symbolism. I wanted to capture not only the tragedy of the disaster, but I also wanted to capture the myths surrounding the disaster and present the truth within those myths. So we ended up with sea lion women and mermaids doing autopsies on things while the badass in the corner looked on. And I dedicated this painting not only to all those who died on the Titanic, but also to the survivors, because they went through a lot of trauma in this. Anyway, now you know the story behind my painting, Sea Lion Women and Mermaids Doing Autopsies on Things. And I promise you, as soon as I upgrade my camera equipment, that I will start live streaming some of my paintings so that you can see some works in process instead of me just explaining what I did on one that I've already done. So thank you for sitting here and listening to me ramble on. And just so that you know, I know Twitch says that you have to make a schedule, but my schedule don't allow me to make a schedule at this time. Hopefully in the future I can do that. But until next time, this is your friendly neighborhood gypsy signing off and saying, hasta la vista, baby, and we'll talk to you again soon.